In a world driven by innovation, the emergence of generative AI stands as a testament to humanity's boundless creativity. But with great power comes great responsibility. Welcome to our exploration of the potential harms and benefits of generative AI. From revolutionizing industries to redefining artistic expression, generative AI holds the promise of transforming our world in ways we've only imagined. But amid the awe-inspiring advancements lie profound questions of ethics, privacy, and the very nature of human creativity.
If you were listening from home, you might have thought that voice was mine and the words from me.
Ripping off specifically my name and my work, yeah, I can see why artists are furious about that.
But in fact, that voice was not mine.
Everything that we're currently seeing seems to be on that sigmoid curve of progress, and I don't know what point on that curve we've got to.
The words were not mine, and the audio was...
They can't create something at a human level with it. It's not going to take many jobs, it's going to make people's work more efficient.
An AI voice cloning software trained on my floor speeches. The remarks were written by ChatGPT.
That feeling of dread came from the idea that ChatGPT and the new AI art systems might be to my world what Napster was to the late 90s, the herald. The first big warning that this new technology, the thing that was going to change everything.
When it was asked how I would open this hearing,
was starting to actually change everything, where huge numbers of people, not just the nerds, were actively using it. And it didn't matter that Napster got sued out of existence, because by then there was Morpheus and Grokster and LimeWire and Kazaa.
Join us as we delve into the complex landscape of generative AI, exploring its potential to shape the future, for better or for worse. Because in the quest for innovation, understanding the balance between benefit and harm is essential. This is Generative AI, unveiling potential, assessing risks. Generative AI. Over the past few years, you might have heard this term starting to be thrown around a lot more, maybe even for the first time. But what exactly is generative AI? Generative AI first started to pop up around mid to late 2022. You may already be familiar with some of these AIs, such as ChatGPT, the renowned writing AI, or DALL-E Mini, which is used for image generation. However, with such rapid development in the space, lots of people have been questioning whether this is an ethical practice, or whether there's enough restrictions, or what these companies should be allowed to do. In this video, we're going to discuss the positives and the negatives of generative AI, and you'll come to find it really depends on who you ask. Let's get right into it. To start it off, it's important to clarify what the point of generative AI is. There are multiple types of generative AI, but the kind we see the most often are image-based and text-based generative AI. However, recently we've also been seeing some video and music generative AI. Now, the real controversy lies within how these AI are trained. So, to get the information, these AI have to have something to feed off of. Think of it like a worm. The worm wants to survive, but to survive it needs food. So what does it do? If it wants to survive, it has to seek out this food and has to keep eating it and eating it. The AI is just like the worm in this way, except instead of finding food to survive, it's finding information and scraping the internet in order to become smarter. Now, this becomes controversial when you get into the copyright law. Copyright law is supposed to protect the works of people, the intellectual property, if you will. However, there's not legislation yet talking about if AI is allowed to use these copyrighted intellectual properties in order to train itself or not. But at this point, it's already mostly too late. Companies have already been using intellectual property for years to train their AI, and there's no way they're going to reset all that progress. It's when technology advances faster than legislation that we see the big problems arise with this technology. You see, just because people aren't happy that their intellectual property is being used in this way, they can't necessarily do anything about it because there's nothing against it. It's for this reason that many artists feel that AI is unethical and needs legislation in order to be introduced properly and ethically into our society. This can be especially concerning for creatives. For instance, let's say that you tell ChatGPT to write a full book in the style of J.K. Rowling. What's stopping the AI from doing that, you might ask? Well, as of now, nothing. And some artists believe that this is a complete and utter abuse of their copyright protections given to them by the law. However, what's the other side saying? Now, there aren't very many valid arguments against this side of this discussion. However, AI companies, for one, do not want to pay for this material. These AI models are kind of like a black hole for information, being that they'll suck anything in that they can and use it if they find it fitting. So, it gets really expensive really quickly. Imagine paying for every single word you see online. Obviously, it's going to be a very complicated process as you don't know who wrote that or where it came from, especially when the process is automated. AI companies do not have an interest in paying these people for their intellectual property, and they don't feel the need to as there's nothing compelling them to. But this isn't only a problem for the writing industry, this is also a problem for the art industry. As AI is able to generate art, becoming more and more convincing as time goes on, artists are believing that they'll be replaced by AI, that their talents won't be needed anymore as they can be replicated in mere minutes by an AI with no soul. This actually leads us into our next topic, which is the loss of jobs due to AI. Many creatives are worried about job loss being replaced by AI. If a company can use a one-off chatbot to generate an entire movie, the visuals, the writing, the directing, everything, with no human intervention needed, what's stopping them? And if they can produce this content quicker than other more ethical, more legitimate, old-school movie businesses, then they have a massive advantage in the market. And it's not like the AI is slowing down at all. We're at a very early stage in the development of these AI models, and they're only becoming more accessible and more complex as time goes on, which is concerning for artists, creatives, writers, people all over the creative industry, as they can see themselves being replaced with AI in mere years. On the other side of this coin, however, AI will create a lot of jobs in engineering. AI obviously takes a lot of people to build and to operate, and it will create many jobs in the tech industry. However, that doesn't mean that tech jobs are for everyone. Now, you might believe that more tech jobs are a good thing. Tech jobs typically pay high, and there's a clear path to get to where you're going in the industry. However, not for everyone. Currently, there's a substantial amount of discrimination by sex, race. Well, that's about it. Sex and race in the tech industry. There's a lot more white, educated, wealthy men than women or minority groups in the tech industry, and it's crucial that we develop our tech infrastructure teaching-wise in order to get more people of lower social class into tech jobs, something which we haven't developed into quite yet. Now that we have ethics and job loss out of the way, I'd like to talk about something that's deeper to all of our hearts and will take you to your roots. Literally. The environment. AI isn't exactly the most clean for the environment. Now, like all these arguments, this goes two ways. Of course, training these AI models and running them, holding all this information and having all these users out all at once takes a great deal of energy and computing power. This releases CO2 emissions into the atmosphere, which makes our green planet more greenhouse gas planet. That is not poggers. Additionally, the creation of more AI infrastructure creates e-waste, which goes where? Into the environment, which is not good for it. So in this way, AI can also help us in our fight against the increasingly warming climate. Once we learn how to make AI more sustainable, we can use it to recognize patterns in our climate, learning what is working and what is not working in our fight against greenhouse gas emissions. So, what does this all mean? With these rapid advances in AI, we are seeing a whole new world of opportunities open up. However, not necessarily opportunities for everyone. We're seeing tons of benefits economically, environmentally, and socially. However, on the other side of that shiny Chuck E. Cheese token though, however, we're seeing the environment be degraded more as we process and develop this AI. We're seeing jobs being lost, which is not good for the economy. And we're also seeing a new lack of social and creative jobs due to AI taking them over. So now it's time for you to think. How is AI impacting your life? In this argument, it's important to remember that AI is the worst it will ever be right now at this point in time when you're watching it. AI will only continue to get better from this point forward. It is for this reason that it's important for us as individuals to voice our concerns about AI so that we can develop it responsibly. We need to hold companies accountable, to stick to ethics, and social awareness. We need them to be aware of how this is impacting people in the real world, not just how it's impacting their money and their wallets and their pockets. And also, the liberal agenda! How to get it out. It's time for us to understand how AI is impacting us and how we can continue to develop it responsibly so that we can have a better future in tandem with AI. Thank you very much. I'm Cooper, and this was Exploring Generative AI. Also, it's important to tell you that the intro was completely scripted and the visuals were dictated by an artificial intelligence. I'm being replaced, help me.